Y'all can't hear me. I'm just talking. I'm over here telling my whole life story. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you are listening to our show. This is Fly Nubian Money. Today we are talking about what would you tell your younger self about money, success, and happiness. I've already introduced myself, Dr. Lene Javette. We're going to dive into a powerful conversation about regrets, lessons, and growth. We all have moments we wish we could take back, financial mistakes, missed opportunities, or choices in love and relationship. But those moments often teach us the most valuable lessons about life, money, and happiness. Today, joining me, we have Constance Carter, wealth activist. We have Lala, who's real estate emperor. We have Joe, the therapist, and we have our executive producer, Miss Black Hollywood, here with us today. So we're going to talk about some real questions. What do you wish you'd known sooner in life? Love. How have you forgiven yourself for any missteps that have happened? And how can we all move forward stronger, wiser, and better prepared for what's next? So I'm going to go to the comments. What have you experienced in your life, and or what would you go back and tell your younger self? That's what we're going to be talking about today. This conversation came out of the desire to assist and help those that are younger than us. I was telling them offline that I have some mentees that I give guidance to. And as I'm talking to them, it feels like I'm talking to my younger self. I am coaching these people the way that I wish that somebody had coached me. And so we're going to kind of just do like a round robin. One question, one answer. What is the first thing that comes to your mind if I was to say to you, what would you go back and tell your younger self? What's the one thing, like the first thing that comes to your mind, Constance, if I ask you, what would you go back and tell your younger self?
Go to an HBCU.
Ooh, that's good. Okay. Joe, what would you tell yourself?
Seek mentorship.
Okay. Tiara, what would you tell yourself?
Don't get the Sally Mae loan. You have a full ride, baby. Don't spend that money on Gucci.
What would you tell yourself, Lala?
Other people's perceptions of you is not your reality.
Oh man, I would tell myself you're more than enough. If I could go back and tell myself something, it would be you're more than enough. I think so I'm 48. And I'm coaching, teaching, mentoring somebody who's 35, somebody who's 43. And when I tell you, I see myself in these young ladies, the issues that they're having in relationship, the issues that they're having with who they are, the issues that they're having in their career. And so we're going to kind of talk about those things. So let's start. We'll start with education since two people brought that up. I flunked out of ninth grade. Well, let me back up. I wanted to be a doctor when I was 12, and then I flunked out of ninth grade. And then I did alternative school for 10th grade. So I just was like, I guess I'm not going to be a doctor. And I didn't go down that path. It was a struggle. And then academically, I just thought I wasn't a smart person because I flunked out ninth grade. I didn't go to 10th grade and I wasn't prepared for college. And then oddly enough, I'm PhD. I'm Dr. Lene Javette, right? 35 years after the fact. So what would I say to somebody? Don't give up. Like, I wish I had known that flunking out at ninth grade didn't mean you couldn't still do what you wanted to do. Why would you have told yourself to go to HBCU, Constance?
So I had wanted to go to an HBCU since I saw School Days in like the 6th or 7th grade. Like that was it for me. And I got accepted to some. And, and then life kind of just took a turn. My mom left when I was 14 and, the household was weird, and it was just kind of like I was trying to figure out things on my own. My dad was really a single father, and he didn't know anything, and I didn't really know anything, and I didn't seek out the help. And so when college came around, I ended up soon as I graduated, I ended up getting kicked out of my house. My dad married someone that he had just met. Her and her daughters, who were my age, moved in, and they kicked me out of the house. So then I was homeless. And so then I was been out on my own since I was 18 years old. But I wished that I had made a decision because college wasn't even a thought for me. I was going and I didn't. And so, but I made sure that my kids did. And so now they know mom is living vicariously through us. Yep. And I'll be the first to admit it. So I'll be like, pledge. You pledge. And I tell him, I gotta pledge Delta, you know. So I'm just like you gonna live my life, but it's not actually working out that way. But they love it. They love it, and that's been my only regret. And I've always said that even when they were little, you know, mommy's only regret in life is not going away to an HBCU. And even I was looking at Joe Claire's Instagram the other day, and he showed like, you know, HBCU in the 90s, and I was like, damn, I missed it. But you know, what happened was I got divorced. I moved to Prince George's County. Now I'm living my HBCU experience. It's real.
Listen, it's never too late. It's never too late. Tiara, you talked about Sally Mae. You talked about school. What's your regret there?
So y'all, I had a full ride to college. I did not have to pay for school at all. I got there. I went to an HBCU, but when I got to school, I discovered my sophomore year that I could take out loans from Sally Mae. Like I was just like, oh, I need to, you know, I want to look nice. I want to dress well. I ain't got no money. I need whatever. And somebody was like, why don't you get it from Sally Mae? You got a full ride? I was like, yeah. So I filled out the paperwork and start getting them refund checks. And, you know, I regret that because that $40,000 has now turned into $115,000. You know what I mean? Like over the years, like that loan, I wish it was $40,000. I'd have just paid it off, but now it's $115,000. I'm like, I don't know. Y'all gonna have to wait on it. I don't know. But
you was balling. You look good in college, didn't you?
Oh my God, I was so cute. I had on heels every day. I dressed well. But here's the thing. I wish I would have took that money and I saw somebody put that they wish they would have invested in Amazon. Me too. Right? I would have took that $40,000 and started a business, or just had somebody told me, hey, you getting these $7,000, $8,000 checks. Here's what you do with it instead of buying clothes and sneakers.
Well, I think we take a hands-off approach when we see the younger generation doing something that they shouldn't be doing. And I think that that's the case is true, even with credit and all these different things. Joe, anything academically or educationally that you have any regrets about, or that you would have done differently, or you would say to yourself today?
Oh my God, listening to both of y'all, like I'm trying to fight back tears. Y'all just don't know. I have to constantly give myself grace, because that freshman year in college for me, I have to remember I was only like a little over 365 days off of losing both my parents. But when I go back to it, yeah, I agree with Constance and Tiara. Like I should have went. I was what you consider black talent. I didn't realize that until one of my friends who went to an HBCU kind of pointed that out to me. It's like, man, they really destroyed your black talent. So I went to a PWI, even though I got into an HBCU and was scheduled to go. But with my parents passing away, like I was like dealing with like real life stuff, like paying rent and things like that. But I still probably could have made it happen, but I didn't know and understand that. So, I had upwards of around 10 scholarships. So there was no way that I was going to have to pay for school. As a matter of fact, wherever I went, I was sure to get a check back for what I was doing. Not to mention I was an orphan, so there was a little bit of money involved with that. But I went to that PWI and they drained me. And even though I had never pretty much gotten anything less than an A in my life, I pretty much flunked out my freshman year. I mean, my sociology professor came to my class and like she was showing off her prized possession, and it was a Confederate flag. Or I was, it was a wild time,
What school did you go to?
It was University of St. Thomas in St. Paul. But I had gotten into Auburn and FAMU. And didn't go to either. And honestly, didn't really understand the concept of HBCU at the time. And coincidentally, the first time I ever stepped foot on an HBCU campus, it was because of my dear friend, Miss Black Hollywood over there. She was the first person to put my feet on the campus. And I was like, what is this, yo?
Right.
Yeah.
What is this?
Right.
What is this? Yeah. I mean, I watched A Different World, but I didn't know what I was looking at, bro. I did not have any idea. So, I agree with Constance, man. I didn't want to say it just because I didn't want to like go right off of what she just said and say the same thing, but it's one of my biggest regrets in life.
Man,
hands down.
Go ahead.
It was pretty lit. HBCU.
Shut up. Okay, rub it in. Okay.
Sorry.
What I did say, I had three things I wanted to be. I wanted to go to Spelman. I wanted to be a doctor. And I wanted to be, at that time, an AK. Today it's a Delta. But at 12, I wanted to be AK. I wanted to go to Spelman. I wanted to be a doctor. Like that was all I knew when I was 12 years old. Wow. And just life took a different path. But what about you, Lala?
I have to say school too, because I was an early mom. I had my son when I was 16 years old, but I had my path already. I was ready to go to the HBCU. I was ready to do the, I don't want to be alone tonight. Okay, I was getting ready to do it all. I was ready to do the AKA. And then when I had my son at 16, everyone told me what I could not do, and I allowed that to get into my head. And in hindsight, I could have done it very easily, but my life went a different way. I went to a junior college and I got a word processing degree. And no sooner than I got out of that, Wang is what I learned on. That tells you I'm 54, right? It's called a computer called the Wang. Baby, the minute I graduated, that Microsoft was already out and had to relearn it all over. So, yeah, do I regret that? I do. I have big regrets about that, but you can't change the past, and
Yeah.
it is what it is.
All right, we're gonna keep going down this path. In the chat, let us know what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about something that you would tell your younger self, or a regret that you might want to go back and fix. Let us know in the chat. We're gonna go to commercial and we're gonna come back in a hot second.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens. That's Queens. That's Queens to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
That's Queens 87948. Yes. Okay, so welcome back. Today we're talking about what would you tell your younger self about money, success, and happiness. So let's go. We're gonna look at a couple of slides. Of course, we do our research when we have these types of conversations. We want to back it in some. I won't say scientific research, but we look some stuff up. So people 40 and over share their biggest regrets, so you can learn from their mistakes. So number one, not asking older family members more questions about our family and forebears while they were still alive. Okay, that's a good one. Number two, caring too much about what others thought of me. I think everybody can, but maybe not everybody, but I had that one.
Yes.
Number three, not setting firm boundaries with people. Givers have to set limits because takers have no limits. That's a word.
Yes.
Number four, not enjoying being single. Looking back, my social interactions were centered around finding the one. I should have just enjoyed getting to know people. Number five, not saving money is a big one. The younger you are, simple things like $1 a day or 10 to 20, etc., in an account that you don't withdraw from. I really do wish I had better understanding of that one. And then we have, thank you. Regrets for people over 50. A little bit different. Number one, not furthering their education. Number two, working too hard. Number three, holding on to grudges. Number four, not preparing your kids to be independent. Preach, Lord. Number five, missing out on investment opportunities. Okay, so when you hear that, I'm going to go around the room. What's the number one of all of those that stood out to you, Joe? Like when you read that list, which one were you like, hallelujah, that's the one?
Man, it's tough to pick one. I think maybe it's tough to pick one, man. I don't know. It's too many.
That's you?
Put it up again, Glenn.
Yeah, put it up
so
again so I can. Yeah, because caring too much of what others thought of me for sure. And you know, it's number one is really important to me. I should sit on that for a minute because, like I told y'all, I keep telling y'all over and over again. By the time I finished high school, my parents were gone. So I can't go back and ask these questions as an adult. Now you can't, you look at things differently through adult eyes. So as a child, I wasn't concerned with these things, but now that I'm a grown, I want to know certain things about my parents and how they got together. I don't know anything about it, and no one can tell me. Like there's no one that's alive that can tell me. And now the secrets come out. I got a whole secret sister that came out after my parents were gone that they had and gave up for adoption when she was born. I can't ask nothing about that. You know what I mean? So yeah, number one for sure. I'm gonna stick on that.
And that it is not that, unfortunately, is not monolithic. There's a lot of Black families that have secrets that go to the grave with
Secrets,
people,
bro.
either because we don't ask or they don't tell. Our generation comes from the previous generation, which was do not talk about anything outside this house. So we don't get the I'm not going to say the blessing of, we don't get the ability to have the knowledge of the things that happen and transpire before us. We just get to see, well, how come such and such don't get along? And what's that animosity? What's that tension? And we have no idea. And so I concur with you on that one. What about you, Lala? On that
Well,
list?
I have to laugh because, first of all, I'm the bye-bye black sheep, have you any wool in my family. If I know a secret, it ain't gonna be a secret because there's no shame in that. I mean, I'm sorry. Okay, so such and such ain't such and such daddy. Okay, but that don't mean that you're still not my cousin. I don't care. So I am the breaker of all secrets, and I got a lot of people who don't like me for that. But for me, and most of my life, it's number two, caring way too much about what others thought of me. I was always trying to fit in, and I got bullied for that. So that made it even harder for me because I wanted to fit in with others. And there was just no way I would ever fit into those molds that they wanted me to. I surely in the heck can't come out any more cocoa than what I am. So I'm like, right, that's what I am. But, you know, it was definitely always worrying about other people, what other people thought of me.
All right. Constance, what about you? What would you say off of the list? If you're talking, you're on mute. Oh, she said she was okay. We
Sorry.
can go to
No. I was muted. I'm sorry. I was talking.
Okay.
Number 4, not getting married before your prefrontal cortex is developed. Number 4. Let me tell y'all, I only had one boyfriend. I've only had one boyfriend. And so here I
am. 132 years? Is it 132 years? 100? I'd be getting the number mixed up.
You're supposed to laugh at this.
That's sad. Are you
kind of sad? Are we supposed to laugh at this? This looks crazy. I've only had one boyfriend.
I mean, you know, I'm this big age of damn near 50, and you know, I'm very picky, and so you know you may have to coach me, Dr. Lene, because you know it's not that I haven't had opportunities, it's just that you know I want what I want, so I don't like exchanging energy with a bunch of people, so I'm very particular about who I have in my space.
Okay, that's good. All right, Miss Black Hollywood, go ahead, Tiara. What you got?
Can I see this list one more time? Okay. You know what? What if we have more than one thing on a list? No. Okay, I'm gonna stick to one. So I'm gonna say, because of the way I grew up, number 3. You know, I grew up without parents. I bounced around a lot as a kid. I lived in 4 states before the age of 5. So you know, I'm gonna say, like, because of the way I grew up, you know, I always had to walk into a house and become a chameleon. So I couldn't set boundaries. You know, it kind of like affected the way I was. You could put it down, Gwen. It affected the way that I interacted with people. Like you go on I never knew what was enough. Like I always allowed people to, you know, I felt like I had to take it, whatever it was, whatever that thing was. I just wanted to stay. Like I was always in survival as a kid. So when I walked in, you know, when I moved into people's house, I allowed them to do whatever they wanted, and I didn't say anything about it. I used to be like, okay, it's fine, okay, whatever, you know. So I would say number 3.
Number 3, okay. I think I'm a cross between 2 and 3, and it's not my main one, but of the list, it would be caring too much about what others think and therefore not setting the right boundaries. So it's kind of like a combination of the two. But I would probably mix in not so much not enjoying being single, but just looking for love in all the wrong places. So caring too much about what people think, therefore I don't have the right boundaries, and I'm looking for love in all the wrong places, which leads to a hot mess. And just not really having a good understanding of who I was, which then makes you feel like you're not enough. And then that's just a spiral. It's just like you just keep going down. Nothing is enough. You just keep feeding yourself toxicity. And that is where I found myself. I couldn't find any kind of peace or joy or happiness because 2 and 3 was crazy. So let's talk about, Constance brought it up, relationships, one boyfriend, right? This is the round robin for relationship. What's the number one thing? We already know what Constance is already, so we're gonna skip her and come back around. We'll come back to you at the beginning of it. What's the one thing that comes to your mind when you think about relationship that you either have a regret or you would tell yourself to do something different? Joe.
Oh, why you gotta start with me? Everything. Listen, I don't want to be repetitive, man, but a lot of things when we talk about this is gonna come back to me losing my mother. So for me, seeking that unconditional love or that feeling of being loved really was detrimental for me in this period of time between like 16 and 26. So a lot of things that I accepted were things maybe I shouldn't accept it. And then I really didn't figure out how cute I was till it was too late. So I missed.
Hey man, that was my story too. Go ahead.
I missed the window and I just looked. Oh, you looking at me? You looking at me? Okay, all right. I didn't know. I wasn't familiar. So like, there's a lot of things that I put up with that I shouldn't have, and then I settled for a lot of things that I shouldn't have because I was just trying to search for that space that I was in or that pocket that I was in before mom left, and so a lot of bad relationship situations, tons of them.
Okay, so we're gonna come back. I'm gonna tell my story. We're gonna go to commercial. We're gonna come back and start with you, Lala. In 6th grade, my first boyfriend used to call me Big, Black, and Ugly, BB&U. That was his nickname for me in 6th grade.
Whose nickname was that for you?
My first boyfriend in 6th grade, his name was David Herbert. Just in case anybody wanted to go find him, his name was David.
We fighting. We who riding on David Herbert?
You never forget that kind of stuff.
Who riding?
It led to extremely low self-esteem, which led to extreme promiscuity, looking for love in all of the wrong places. And so, again, if I could go back, and I had an experience. I hired this lady who helped me to go back and talk to myself and help me to heal the little girl in me. She was like, what would you say to yourself if you can go back? And I'd be like, you're more than enough, not just enough, but more than enough. And to Joe's point, I didn't even realize I was cute until I'm like 20, 21, maybe. I'm like 20, 21, but I'm so damaged and hurt. Now that I'm realizing I'm cute, I'm trying to damage and hurt the people who had hurt me. So I wish I could go back and be like, you are more than enough. And it's not because you're outside, it's like who you are as a person, who you are on the inside. That's what makes you more than enough. Because to now look at myself today, and I showed one of my homeboys my picture. He was like, man, you really grew into your looks. And I was like,
girl, my kids told me that the other day. Mom, you glowed up since you left dad. Like, really, bastards?
But we don't know when we're younger. We're going off of what other people are telling us. We don't know. We don't have boundaries. We can't speak to ourselves in a positive light. And so we're gonna come back. We're gonna start with you when we
wait. First of all, I need to let Herbert, what's his name? Robert Herbert. David Herbert. Okay, first of all, David Herbert needs to see you today at this very moment in all that sexy red, baby. Because when I came up in here and I seen her looking like that, I wanted to not get on the podcast today. I'm gonna let you know right now. So we need to go on and find Mr. David Herbert and send him a
ugly.
Oh, David is probably busted.
He's definitely ugly.
And he's fat,
ugly,
and bald.
And he got no teeth on the sides.
Been divorced 4 times.
Joe said, is David black? His mom was black and his dad was white. He was
still ugly.
Oh, he was definitely ugly.
He's still ugly.
Definitely ugly.
I'm looking it up. I'm trying to see what David doing, man. That's crazy. Tripping, David. He's tripping, David.
What school y'all went to? Listen, we got to investigate. Yes.
But you know, it'd be the one.
Right,
it'd be the one. Go ahead.
We're gonna go to commercial. We're gonna come back. We're gonna see who found David Herbert, and then we're gonna start with Lala.
You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says? Check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
Get your money right. Okay? Come on, Jazz Hand Joe. Give it to him. Give it to him.
God.
Give it to him, Joe.
Like I'm having a stroke.
That ain't it.
It's a horror movie.
Lala, what would you say about from a relationship standpoint? What either a regret or something you would go back and tell yourself?
The regret is allowing someone to break me as hard as they did. That was my very first love, and so much so that when it ended in such turmoil that was the first time in my life that I ever wanted to take myself out, and no one could console me. And it took me years to realize that I was worthy, and that it wasn't me that was broken. But yet I had to pick the pieces back up. And it reminds me of that Japanese saying where, you fix a broken cup, but you fix it with gold. But it took me a long time to heal from that. And I had no one to help me, because at that time there was no money for therapy. Everybody was like, you just need Jesus. I got Jesus, but I need somebody to help me fix this heart. And it took me many, 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 many years to recover.
Wow.
All right. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Tiara?
It's so funny because even in going, Joe, you good? You mute yourself. You mute yourself. I don't know. Anyway, I would just say, I had a friend when I was like in high school, and he used to say like, Tierra, you need to leave those rocks alone. Like, meaning, Rock, the movie, the TV show, like Rock was a trash guy, or he used to pick up. So my friend Javante used to always say, man, you need to leave those trash men alone. Like, you need to leave the garbage alone. And so starting from when I was younger, just because I didn't have those boundaries, like I didn't understand what love looked like. I didn't have a mother or a father there. I was accepting everything from anybody. And so maybe I wasn't promiscuous, but like I did take a lot of things that I just didn't know what it looked like. So people would say, yeah, I love you, but then have another girlfriend. I'd be like, oh, you date her too? Okay, but he loved me, So I just feel like that's really been my experience, really, just for a very long time. Like it really, until I went to therapy, I was like, wait a minute now, that's not what love looks like. And so
let's do solution.
Men are trash. Men are trash.
Yeah, giving too much, allowing
Listen, look at Tasha's messing up. I was about to say, let's talk about solutions. She goes, men are trash.
No.
So let's do solution.
Poor Joe.
Yeah,
but that is such a common story. Guys are trash. Like, why are you telling this woman you love her, and then you got 3 other women, and you telling them all the same? You got this woman in love, and just why don't you just be honest?
Because she's talking about younger. Where she's talking about when they were younger.
50 and 60 and 40-year-old men is still doing that same shit.
Man, that's crazy.
Kay Leslie says that women have to stop ignoring red flags. Listen, what Constance say? I turn red flags into green flags into Six Flags.
Six Flags.
I did all that. I turned my red flags into Six Flags.
No.
I was like,
and then when you get
girl.
digmatized, and then let's not talk about digmatization.
At this age,
hold up,
a red flag is a red flag. A pink flag is a red flag. A fuchsia flag is a red flag. A light pink flag is a red flag. If it's a red flag,
digmatization is a green flag. I'm trying to tell
We
you.
we like the colors of the rainbow.
Mm-mm.
I love the colors of the rainbow.
How do we take what we know
is a green light,
and at this age, and help the people that come behind us? So when you're talking to your daughter, you're giving her advice on relationship based on what you know now, what you've been through now. What do you tell her?
Don't get married at 23 until your prefrontal cortex is developed. That's it.
That's
basically she gives me relationship advice.
What you got to say, Joe? What would you say, Joe? What would you say that a young man coming behind you, based on your life's experiences and what you know about relationship, if you see a young man struggling in a relationship, what would you how would you consult them? How would you give them motivation or information?
Oh man, first thing I always tell these young guys, man, is to develop friendships, man, first. You know what I mean, and see if you want to even be near or have somebody in your space. I know that attraction draws people in, and when you find somebody sexy or whatever, but after that, can you develop a friendship with someone? Because if you can't develop a friendship with a person, you just really wasting your time. And then these young guys too that do a lot of lying and stuff, I'd be like, well, if you gotta lie, move around. Like I say that to them all the time. If you have to lie to this girl, move around, because you are not ready for her at all. And that's just
Joe, they lying at 50. They line at 50.
I can't do
They
nothing about them
lying.
old Negroes. I can't do nothing about them old Negroes, but I do my best. I do my best, but they be see what I'm saying, like the women of a certain age know these Negroes be lying and still let them get away with it. So how do you tell somebody? Yeah, what are you looking at, Constance? Come
My
on
daughter
back.
was coming downstairs.
Oh,
She's looking over her shoulder to see if he.
okay. All right, stop letting them lie to you, man. Stop letting them lie to you, man. I can't do nothing with the old Negroes if y'all gonna let them get away with it. I can't, that's
All
what
right.
it is on that.
What about you, Lala? And Joe is married, just for whoever's in the comments said Joe is happily married. Lala is also happily married. What would you tell a young lady that you saw struggling in relationships?
Actually, the friendship really needs to come first, because even though I was going through that horrible thing, I still had a friend who ended up being my husband. So he was there long before that relationship started and long after, and still is today. And it was because of that friendship. Not every relationship needs to be sexual. Not every relationship needs to be to be romantic. You need to know yourself before you get into any other relationship at all. You don't even know what you want at that age.
Listen, today's music, not to say that our music wasn't good, sex me, baby, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that our music wasn't crazy, but today's music is disgusting. You can't, how do you do, I don't even know if they have love songs. Like, what do they put on? Like, we had Luther, we had Color Me Bad, we had Mint Condition, we had Boyz II Men, we had love songs, we had music that told you kind of what to do. What they got today, like, how can relationships produce out of today's music?
No foreplay. You go straight to it.
What about you, Cherry? What would you tell somebody younger than you coming up in this world about relationship and how to operate and find peace and love?
Well, I tell my daughter, I mean, I'm always having conversations with her about getting too involved with people and setting boundaries and all the things that I feel like I didn't get. It'll be a little boy. She'd be like, I think he's so cute. I'd be like, he can't even read. He can't read, Lauren. Like, you can't. What are we doing? She'd be like, I could teach him how to read. No, that was like in fifth. There was the little boy in 5th grade. She was like, I could teach him how to read. I was like, no, you can't.
Oh,
Baby,
bless her
no, you
heart.
can't. You're not doing it. We're not doing that this early. Right? So it's just little things like that where I always try to nip it in the bud. What we're not gonna do is be codependent.
Right. She already practicing build a Negro.
I said, listen, if you start building the bear young, you'll be building them forever.
Listen, I had to console my daughter for the first time at like 3, right? In 3rd grade. In 3rd grade, I think. She came home, she made this little card for a little boy. She made him a Valentine's Day card. He didn't give her a card back. She was like, I said, Lauren, you can't be, she said, I gave him a card and a candy. I said, what did he give you? She was like, nothing. I said, you can't do that no more. You can't do that no more. So we went through the whole thing. She was crying. She was like, I just want him to give me candy and like me. I said, he don't like you. And then I went to school the next day and was like talking to his mama. I said, hey, listen, so Lauren made your son some a card. What do he be talking about, Lauren? She was like, well, I mean, he talks about a lot of girls. I looked at Lauren like, you see? No.
Mama,
I said, he don't be talking about you. He be talking about all the girls.
Mama.
She was crying. Damn.
Crying. I mean, you could have broke it to her like, easy. Why you gotta do the baby like that?
I mean, I consoled her. I rocked her. I kissed her. But I was like, this is the real. Like, I want you to know that you got to set boundaries. If he's not giving you what you are giving him, it was like a good lesson in reciprocation. Sometimes it was a little hard. Sometimes it was soft. Like, I cuddled her, but I was like, he don't like you, sis.
Damn.
You know? So but
read the room.
Is good. Like Lauren is good. Like Lauren is be good. Like she is good. Like sometimes she be like, oh no, because I'm not about to be codependent. I'd be like, no,
she's listening.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna play devil's advocate, but before I do, Joe is shaking his head. Did you want to say something before I play devil's advocate, Joe?
No, it has nothing to do with what she's saying. Just who she is. I'm just shaking my head because I know her, and I'm just shaking my. No.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. because I have two young ladies, how I started, 35 and 43, that I am mentoring right now. And when they talk and they speak and they say certain things, I hear myself at that age. And I have to grab them and be like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I do believe in not being codependent. I do believe that you should be able to stand on your own 2 feet. I do believe you should be able to speak for yourself and communicate, all that stuff, be feminine. But I think that if I could go back to my younger self, I would say it's okay to say you want a man, and it's okay to be open to having it and receiving it. I think in this world, in this society, we have created I don't need a man mentality so big and so strong that it's almost bad to say that you want and or need a man. Of course you can do it by yourself, sis, and you look good doing it, but do you want to do it by yourself? If you do, cool. But for the ones who don't, who cry themselves to sleep at night, or who aren't operating in their greatness, or not making the moves that they want to, or settling for JJ over wherever he at just because you want somebody, say what you want, speak it into existence and go after it. I don't think that I was open and honest enough with myself to say that that was something that I wanted. And so, I mean, in reverse, it made me very successful because I dug into my career, which I said I wanted to do. But also, I knew that, so for 2 reasons. Number one, I didn't want to have kids. And number two, I didn't want to have kids because I didn't think I would be a good mom. So when I had a kid, I threw my whole self into being a mom. And I knew a man wouldn't want to play second to being a mom, to my son. And I knew I needed to go to school and get my business. So between my son, my school, and business, I felt like there wasn't any room for a man. But in hindsight, I think I created that environment for myself. So when I'm talking to these young ladies now and I'm watching how they're moving, and I'm like, no, if that's what you want, say that's what you want. Make the time for it. Don't press it. Don't push it. You don't have to be codependent, but be honest. Like, Black love is not going to exist if we don't have a Black man and a Black woman. Say it again.
Not in third grade, Lynette.
Not in third grade. Yeah, no, not in third grade. Yeah. 35 to 43.
With a third grader.
Yeah. At third, no, because in third grade, you have to teach them about the boundaries that they need for themselves to be able to invite another person into their life. Because if you don't have boundaries, you shouldn't be. If you don't have boundaries and you bring somebody into your life, their boundaries will become yours and you won't have any. So you have to have your own. Listen, that list is no joke. You have to know who you are. And unfortunately, especially if these young kids listening to the music, they have no idea who they are. This music today, way crazy. Life, shows, friendships, social media, conversations, what they see and take into their environment. We didn't have this growing up. Listen, if you found a Playboy under the sink in the bathroom, you just thought you was doing something. This stuff is on every channel. It's on regular TV now. The conversations that are being had. These children are not protected the way that we were. And that's a whole nother conversation. We're gonna get to that after the commercial. We're gonna take this commercial break and then we're gonna go in deeper. We'll be right back.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes, yes, yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and reviews so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
All right. So we're going to keep the conversation going. We're going to pivot a little bit. We're going to lighten it up. Let's talk about finances. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about credit. What are the things that you wish you knew about those things? We're going to do our round robin. The number one thing that comes to your mind about money and or credit that you either regret or that you would go back and tell yourself to do differently. We'll start with you, Constance, because you are the wealth activist.
I would say everything that I've been through was a lesson. It wasn't a loss. So I've had bad credit. I filed bankruptcy. Everything that I've done, made some really good money, made some really bad money, had some car repossessions, some foreclosures, some short sales, all of that. That was all part of the journey. So it was good stuff, but you ain't got to go through that just because I did. It was for me because God has called me to be able to share this with other people. so that I can help other people not go through that, because everybody, you know, somebody, this, my ministry ain't your ministry. So my ministry is helping other people through this. You don't have to. So you know, I'm good with it, but I've been through some things and I'll do it again. Not now, not in this time of my life, but you know, if I was younger, I'm not ashamed of it.
So what would you tell somebody? What would the advice then be?
The advice about money.
If you had to go back and tell your younger self something, or if you had to tell somebody else that was younger,
somebody else, oh, keep your credit tight.
Okay, keep your credit tight. Joe?
I'll pull them aside and say, look, young fella, I'm going to tell you a couple of things. Depreciating assets, okay? Understand what that is. Financial literacy. Dig into that. Understand what that is. You listen, I was about 19. So here we go again. You know, I got a settlement because my mother passed away from a wrongful situation from a hospital. Got a check for about 80 racks at 19 and didn't listen to nobody. The only person that tried to help me was the lawyer, who was the white man who said, you know, do this, do that to make sure your money lasts. I was like, nah, I got it. And pretty soon I had like 3 cars, a safe in my room where I didn't put stuff. It was ignorant, bro. It was just pure ignorant. And I know now what $80,000 can do. It can be, especially, this is what, 2000, 2001, could be life changing. That was 1999. That's how bad. That's how long it was. 1999. I understand now what that is. So I pull them aside and tell them a lot of things. But just like Constance said, I had to go through those things in order to understand, you know, but the shake of talking about it.
I wish we could get younger people to understand, like I mean, my son fights me all the time. You just want me to be like you. No, I just don't want you to make the mistakes that I made. I want you to not have to have the same hurdles. I'm trying to get you through life easier without as many bruises. They don't get that though. Somebody, who was it? I think it was Big Mac, said, don't sign up for them credit cards in college. Listen, them credit card companies is the first people you see when you get to a college campus. Before you step foot on the credit card people, they be there. That was the first card I ever got, was when I was 18, and it was at the college campus. I didn't even go to that school. I was just there to look at it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll take a credit card. Didn't even go to the school. Like, so that's legit. That's real. Tiara, what about you financially?
Listen, that's exactly what I was about to say. Don't take that Discover card at 18. Because that's where it started. I was like, ooh, I need shirts and shoes and pants, and like I need to look cute. And you know, the one thing that nobody ever says at HBCUs is like, the kids be cute. Like, these girls be cute. They dress cute. Like, it's a, you know, I'm not saying it's a competition, but you like,
but
don't want to come and be looking.
You're not saying it's a competition, but it is. Right. I went to campus. I was like, is everybody a model? Like, what is going on?
Yes, yes, like that was a real thing. So I wouldn't have got that Discover card. And to be honest, in 12th grade, we had a stock exchange class, and they taught us all about the stock market. And I thought that class was so hard, or it was going to be so hard, that I cheated. Like, somebody gave me their stock exchange report from the year before, and I turned it in and I got an A in the class, but I didn't know anything about trading stocks. And so I feel like when I would have got that $40,000 that Sally Mae gave me, I'd have known to invest in Amazon had I been pinned. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I really missed something there. Like, just being fearful. I got in class and was like, oh my God, what are you even talking about? What's an S&P? What is this? It was a lot. The index, what? You know, so I regret that. I regret that early.
I like that one. That's a good one. We don't lean into the stuff that's more difficult. We always, when we're younger, we want to take the easy path, like just give me what I need so I can get through it without actually taking the information and the knowledge and applying it. What about you, Lola?
I have to tag on with the credit cards, because when I did get on campus, on a traditional campus, they were giving them out like those Pez candies. Just here you go, here you go. And I was like, thank you. I had about 5 credit cards and no information on how to use those responsibly. And so I got into debt very quickly, and then also took out loans for school, trying to rectify what I wanted in the first place, and still didn't even finish that college because I was in so much debt. So No, those credit cards that they used to hand out on them campuses in the early 80s, 90s, 2000s, those were some dangerous things because you just go around another corner and there's another one. And so I would totally not do that now. In fact, that I did teach my son that was what I went through, and he was so against it. He was like, no. Anytime, it took me a long time to even get him a credit card because he knew how bad it was for me.
I think I would say budgeting. If I could go back and or a regret, both of them would be budgeting, like really understanding money. How much money do I have coming in? How much can I spend? How much has to go to my bill so that my credit is not impacted? How much do I need to save so that I can buy a house? So I can pay for this with cash. But just, yeah, some of y'all know my story, right? I danced when I was younger. So from like 19 to like 22, I'm making like $4,000 to $5,000 a month at 19 years old. Sometimes 10, just depending on what it is. And I'm just having a good time, flying around, living the life, buying cars, buying clothes. I've lost and have gone through so much money that could have set my life up so differently. But I didn't understand budgeting. I didn't understand how to, even at that time, pay myself first. And I wish people could get that piece of it, right? We talk about the credit and we talk about the credit cards. If you have a good budget and you understand money, how much money you're making, how much is coming in, how much has to go out, you can pay your bills on time, you can still travel, you can save, you can do all the things you want to do. But the flex was get the money and spend it. So that's the thing about money that I would say is one of my biggest regrets, but also one of the things that I wish I had, that I wish I could tell more people about that are young. Get a good understanding of your money, how you want to use it, what you're going to use it for, so that you can make some of these different moves. All right, so we're gonna round it out with happiness. Ooh, happy. What is either a regret or something that you would go back and tell yourself about being happy? We're gonna start with you on this one, Lala. What's something that you would do if you could go? What is something you would tell yourself, or what is there a regret that you have around happiness in your life?
Happiness is not from others. Your happiness begins within you. Because if you don't have your own happiness, you can't depend on someone else to try to make you happy. So you really do need to do the work about learning yourself. Because, baby, people can always tell you they love you and you can do this, but you still go home and be depressed. So until you can accept you for who you are, nothing will change.
I like that. What about you, Constance, around happiness?
I've always been happy, no matter what conditions that I've been in. I've had moments where I've gone through some drama and trauma, but I never looked externally, and I'm grateful for that. I don't allow my circumstances to dictate my happiness or my joy. Now, my peace has been disturbed. I ain't gonna lie about that, but I'm generally a happy person, and I can laugh through anything, and I can smile through most things. If it ain't like whatever I do, if it doesn't involve laughter, I don't want to do it. So I just make sure I incorporate that, and I'm having fun and I'm having a good time. And I think that's important no matter what you're going through. I could be crying, but I'm going to look at something and I'm going to say something, or somebody going to say something funny to me and we're going to bust out laughing. And that's just how I live my life.
I like that. I always said, in hindsight, the joy of the Lord is my strength, right? But like kind of like what you said with happiness and peace, them things on earth be like, ugh.
Yeah.
I know it, and my mom has said this too. Something around fifth grade, I was a good kid. I was a happy kid. Things were great. Somewhere around fifth grade, something happened, and I don't know what it is. And I try to recall it all the time, but I ended up going dark, and I got this mean streak. And I've had it for a really long time. And it has impacted me even into how old I am right now. I have to sometimes catch myself and be like, am I a good person or am I a mean person? Am I a bitch? Like, because I have this streak, like you can get this version or you can get this version. And I have to try to keep this version tamed a lot. And I'm just at the point in the age where I'm challenging that darkness, and I've been repenting it, and I've been blocking it, and I've been like fighting up against it, because for a really long time, I was like, what is it? Why is that there? And I kept trying to figure out what it was. And now I'm at the place where I'm like, it doesn't matter what it is. I know who I am. I'm not a mean person. I'm not a bad person. I don't know what I went through that took me dark, but I'm going to operate in this place of life, because if I sit still for too long, I'll just start crying. Like just
Mm.
if people are like, you're so successful because I got to keep running, because I got to keep producing, I got to keep being happy, I got to keep appearing to be happy, because if I sit still, there's something in me that is dark that will just start crying uncontrollably, and I don't know what it is. And within probably like the last 6 months, I've started opening that up, because I'm like, I don't want to take this thing into my 50s. I got to figure out what this thing is. And so my thing would be to myself or to anybody is, if there's something in you that is not right, don't keep putting it on the back shelf. Face it, deal with it, figure out what it is. If it's coming up against you, stealing your joy, stealing your peace, not allowing you to have happiness and or joy and or peace, deal with whatever that thing is. Because I'm 48 and I'm just getting to a place where I am like, I don't want that anymore. And so now I challenge it. I will sit still and be like, okay, is it going to come up in me? Okay. And sometimes it will, but most times it doesn't. Now I'm not afraid of whatever it is. And I don't have to go back and figure out what it was, because my therapist was like, why do you need to know what the thing was that made you go dark? What if your mind is protecting you from that thing?
Wow.
Leave it there. Operate with who you are today and right now. And that has been a challenge, because imposter syndrome kicks in, and I flunked 9th grade and I've been a dancer, and how do I have the right to now be a doctor and do all these great things? And so if I could go back to my younger self, I would just be like, you are more than enough. Like, just lean into and rely on that, and let that be your joy, and let that be your happiness. And so that's my little piece. Lala, what did you say? Did I already do Lala? Joe, we'll go to you, therapist.
Yeah, well, that was impactful. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Lene.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say honestly, I felt like I was such a burden to people at that time in my life, that I just knew how to bring pleasure and be of service. And if I wasn't doing that, then I had no value. So
Yeah.
I needed to, I was chasing happiness, but was not seeking joy, right? And I would try to tell myself, listen, it's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to take care of yourself and do things that bring you peace and bring you joy. And none of that is selfish. None of that is selfish. And, people are in your life because they choose to be, and you're not this big burden to everybody that you think you are. So I would try to give myself, some reassurance that, it's okay just to, be who you are and seek out things that are good for you. And that doesn't mean that you are, not of service to anyone.
I love that. What about you, Tiara?
Yeah, I definitely can yes, concur with that. I felt like that for a very long time, especially when you're in people's houses that you moving in other people's houses like maybe if invisible, like I gotta just be invisible and I gotta be make everybody happy and I gotta, I lead. I think that it's so funny because like I developed my family is funny, but like I developed like comedy out of that, out of like always being light and making sure that I can make people laugh and all of that. But I would say for me it's been finding happiness has been a journey in terms of like uh I've always been talented, creatively talented. Like I could always write, I could always sing, always had all of these talents. And I allowed for a really long time, especially when I moved to Hollywood, people would be like, "Oh, you should do this because you're really good at this. You should do that, or you should try this, or you should." And I was like trying to do all the things that were recommended because they were coming from people. If you get advice from Blair Underwood, you're going to take it. You get, whoever, you're going to take it. Loretta Devine, you're going to take it. But it put me in a place where I was like trying to chase things that I feel like kind of threw me off my path a little. You know what I mean? Just because they were coming from people that were amazing. And so in these times, I've learned to stop doing that and just kind of chase the things that I want to chase. And it's made me so much happier, y'all. Like just doing the things, saying, like, no, this was the vision, Tiara. This is what God told you to do. He didn't tell you to do that. Like, why are you doing that? And I was like, oh, well, I thought it was God speaking through Blair Underwood. And I found myself, thank God I did the thing he told me. He told me to learn to produce and learn to direct and learn. But it took me, I started a whole production company after he told me to do it. I was like, this is what he told me to do. And thank God I did it because, it's made a lot of money for me. But creatively, I was like, I got to come back to what it is that God told me to come to LA and do. And so once I started to do that, it's made me a lot happier to pursue those things that were my initial vision, and not allowing people to say, well, you're good, you should do this, so that's the thing that's made me happy.
I love that. I think at the end of the day, the conversation comes around and or circles back to, we don't want to fail in life, in relationship, in love, in finances, and just how we get along with people, right? And so sometimes that will keep us from pursuing the thing that we want to pursue, or we will pursue it and not get it the way that we thought we should get it, and it will paralyze us from doing the next thing. So ultimately, we're living a life, and we're going through life, and we have these experiences, but they are and or should be shared experiences. I should be able to tell somebody else, this is what happened to me. Let me help you so you don't have to go through that. I should be able to maybe not be embarrassed, right? Maybe not feel regret, but definitely help this next generation or this next person not to have to experience it in that way. Because failure is, what is it? It's not failure, it's fear. I can't even think of what it is. False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Say it with me. And a lot of times those are where some of our regrets will come from. And so we're going to go to this video clip from Denzel Washington talking about failure. And then we'll come back and do our closing thoughts.
Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. First, you will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable. And I should know. In the acting business, you fail all the time, early. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed, and I prayed. But I continued to fail and fail. Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you're going. Your life will never.
I love it. So we're going to do our closing statements. And then also make sure that you go and support and find and rock with our queens and the king that are on the panel today. We are going to start out with Lala. What are your final thoughts on today? What would you leave either your younger self with or the people in the audience with today?
Well, first, what I have heard from everyone today is I'm not alone, which means you're not alone either. Some of the things that you're going through, you think you're all by yourself and no one else is going through it but you. But as I have sat here on this panel today, I have noticed that I wasn't alone. We all are going through something. So when we go through those, we become a testimony. When we come out on the other side of it, we are a testimony. And now we are a light for someone else who is living in the dim. So always be the light. That is my motto. You can find me at bit.ly, Key Info, and I have lots of free resources there for you, including budget planners, because a lot of people are saying money. Go get your free one.
Get your money right. Okay. We'll go to Miss Black Hollywood since we threw out her jazz hands.
You know what? If I was to talk to my younger self, let me talk to her, because she has overcome so many things. From the age of, from coming out of the womb, she has dealt with so much. She has had to overcome so much adversity. She has had to feel unloved and unwanted in so many instances. And so for her, she has risen. She has become successful. She is beautiful. She is funny. She is all the things that if I were to, she just has all the things. You know, there's nothing that I look at her as an adult and say like, oh, you could have did this better. Like I feel like she took all the tools and all the things and all the she made things out of nothing. She took every moment to be like, how can I make this better? Or she stayed ambitious, you know, all the things. And so I would just say, young Black Hollywood, I am so proud of you. You overcame everything, and I love you, and you have always been enough. And yeah, that's what I would say. Good job, girl.
Good job, girl.
Good
Yes.
job, girl.
Come on now.
Oh. And if you want to talk to the adult Hollywood, I am at Miss Black Hollywood across all platforms. That's MSBLACK Hollywood right there at the bottom of the screen. And, you know, I help people with their businesses. So, you know, just come on over.
Come on over. Okay, we're gonna go right now. We're gonna go over to Constance Carter. What about your final thoughts, Constance?
So I often reflect over my life, and I think about those things. You know, the biggest regret I have, probably the only regret, was the HBCU. And I think about, I remember telling my son, you know, if I would have went to, because he's going to school to be an attorney, and had I went to HBCU, I would probably be an attorney. And he's like, Mom, you'd have been the coldest attorney in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the hardships and the missteps, because here I am today, finding myself able to help other people avoid certain things because of the things that I went through. You know, I have been homeless. Yeah, I have. You would never know. People, when they see me, they like, why she ain't bougie? I thought she was gonna be bougie. Why? How is she so down to earth? And this is real. What you see here is what you see in person, is what you see on stage, is what you see with me at home. This is who I am. And so I've been through a lot that keeps me grounded. I remember my mama said, I asked when I moved into this big house, and I said, Mama, do you think I'm high class, or do you think I'm middle class? She said, I think you're low class. So you always have them people to keep your balloon from flying off, because they will keep you grounded. I have people in my life that keep me grounded. But the beautiful thing is, all of these hardships that I have gone through, they are the blueprint to help other people. You know, I'm living my passion. I've lived my passion the last 20 years, first in real estate and helping clients, then helping my agents. Now I'm helping Black women and other people, right? I even coach celebrities. And I was sitting there, I was like, you know, I've coached at least 5 or 6 or 7 celebrities on their business. And I totally forgot. You don't think about that stuff. But I because of the things that I've been through, and they come to me, Constance, what can I do to build wealth? Constance, how can I make some investments? Constance, what can I do to change my life? And you think because they're in this position and they have this money or they have this access that they know, and they don't. And so I'm grateful, because my journey has allowed me to go through all these places and spaces so that I can be a resource to people, so I can be a help. So I'm grateful for it. So younger self, you know, you've been through some shit. You've been through some bullshit for no reason. But it's okay, because look, I'm able to stand on top of it and use it to help other people today. And that's okay. So I am starting my next cohort of the next Net 7 Collective that starts in January. So if you are a Black woman or you know a Black woman, have them holler at me. Have them go to Book with Constance, and let's do a one-on-one to see if they would be a good fit for my program, bookwithconstance.com. And then where can you find me? Everywhere. I am Constance Carter.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna round it out with the king. Come on, Joe Corley. What you got for us?
I want to show gratitude for everybody for opening up a space for me to be vulnerable about this topic. I took my therapist hat off for a second, but if I put it back on, I'm going to tell you that obviously we can't go back in time, and living with regret is a recipe for unhappiness and misery. But I mean, we do it, right? We're all humans, and we do it. We go back and wish we could change and do certain things over. And my life has been very, very hard, but that's been God's gift to me, because it's allowed me to show up for people, hundreds, and close to thousands of people in spaces where they needed someone who had been through what I've been through to say the things that I said in those moments. So ultimately, I'm appreciative of that. And I want everybody to understand that, you know, you can't go back and change the things that you did. That's not possible, but you can go back and change the things that you believed about yourself in that moment. And It can help you live in today and change the behaviors that you want to correct today, from the things that affected you in the past that you had nothing to do with. And like I said, forgive yourself for the things that you were doing when you were trying to survive. You can find me on the internet at jcorley80 on all the platforms, or if you want to, you can go to my website, realuconsulting.com, and if you sign up now, we can get you in the proud class of March for your word processing degree.
Not word
I'm gonna
processing.
beat your ass, bro. I'm gonna beat your ass.
I can't with him. I cannot.
I'm gonna sign up. I'm gonna sign up.
Not too late. It's not too late for you. It's not too late for you. We still need your skills.
I can't with him. I can't with him. So what I would say is either to my younger self and or to myself today, right now, it is that your perspective is going to dictate everything, how you think about it and how you look at it. I'm in a season right now of changing perspectives. I feel like I was wronged as a child by my dad, and a lot of that showed up in how I thought about myself and how I looked for love. And as an adult, from a basic perspective, I'm looking back. I saw a picture of my dad. I've been going through some stuff with my mom's, and there was letters from my dad that he had written when he was in jail, and like from 88, 87. And I'm reading them and I'm listening to the tone. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't remember this letter. But 87, 88, it was when I was going through that dark season of my life. And so I'm reflecting like, oh my God, when I went through that dark season of life, it changed my perspective about a lot of things. And so I had a lot of friction with my dad from as far back as I can remember to when he died. And some of that regret is in, I thought we would have more time to heal that relationship and that it would never heal. But as I'm getting older and I'm applying perspective, I have a picture of the very first time my dad had me on his shoulder. And I have a picture of the last time I saw him. And when I think about everything in between, and I just got these letters from him, and he was talking about how he loved me, and I could hear in his tone, just different things. I know, you're upset about this, and it was a happy birthday card. And I just started crying because this perspective I had about him based on frustrations in that season of darkness literally stole years of what I thought about him. But also as I'm coming into the season of myself and I'm looking back at my own life, my perspective about who I was and how I operated and what I think, what I thought because of what somebody else said to me, it has changed. And so now I'm in this season of, you are dope. You are cool. You are all of the things. You can be rough around the edges. You can be smart. You can kick it. You can go in the boardroom. You can hang out. You are dope. And I wish I would have realized this a long time ago. I don't know what my path would look like. I don't know if it would have changed. I am blessed to have lived the life that I have lived, to have stepped in the shit that I have stepped in, and been able to wipe my shoe off and keep moving because I don't look like what I've been through. And I'm coming to a season where now I get to use it to help other people. I used to say, when somebody would say, I want to be like you, I would be like, aim higher. You don't want to be like me. Like, you don't want to go through what I've gone through. And I had a mentor who said, stop saying that. Like, what people are saying is, I want to go through my journey and still look like that. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm in my right mind. I'm sane. I can still motivate. I can still empower. I can use what I've gone through, my testimony, as I think it was Lala said, I can use my testimony to help somebody else through their test so that they too can get to the other side. And so I think I would just say, it's not for naught. There's one of my favorite scriptures, and I can't think of the verse itself right now, but it is, you do not know now what I am doing, but later you will. And so we get to live in our later. We don't know why we've gone through those things, but use it, apply it, help somebody else that's coming up behind you. That's what I would say. And so I am Dr. Lene Javette. I'm a monetization coach, a brilliant business coach. I help Black entrepreneurs to double and or triple their revenue. You can find me at I am Dr. Lene Javette. And or here Tuesdays and Thursdays. But you can find Fly Nubian Money here every Monday through Friday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. If you want to get notified when we are live, make sure you text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948. That's 87948. You can also catch us on Spotify if you want to listen to us while you are working out, while you are driving. And you can go to info@realvirtual if you would either like to get information about advertising on the platform or joining the platform or being a host. If not, like I always say, thank you for joining us. Thank you to our co-host. Thank you to everybody who showed up and was vulnerable. Thank you to those in the chat for sharing your experiences and your stories and listening to us as we talk about what we wish we had done differently. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Go out, enjoy your day, be blessed, stay Black, and be one. We'll see you.